Hello, everyone. I want to talk a little bit about the brand new Halloween movie, Halloween Kills 2021. And this is going to have spoilers. This is going to be a review that tells you a lot of what happens in the movie and goes into some specifics. All right. It's not going to totally ruin the movie, but I would say if you really don't want to know certain things about the movie, don't watch this video, please. Um, I'm a fan of slasher films. A lot of times on my channel, you'll see a lot of old classic horror films of the 30s and 40s and 50s and so on, and 60s and 70s. But I love slasher films. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan. I enjoy the Halloween films, and I'm a Michael Myers fan. I just want to say that from the beginning before I tear into this new movie because I really was disappointed with this film. Now, when I say disappointed, I mean I was disappointed with Halloween Kills in the sense of compared to the rest of the series. I wasn't disappointed in the sense that I had heard that it wasn't that good when I started out. Some people through the grapevine, although I tried not listening to too much, made me realize this was going to be rough sledding. Now, basically, what we have here, this is people who don't know. It, the Halloween franchise really lost its way a long time ago, and there are so many different timelines. Although these days I look at the timeline factor for the Halloween series as kind of a way to justify having a lot of movies. I don't know what, I didn't stop to take the time to count which number Halloween film this is. I don't know whether it's the 12th Halloween film or 13th or 14th or 10th, 11th. I don't know. There's something like that. There were a lot of them in the original series I'm talking about. And anyway, what I'm getting at there is it's not so bad when you realize this is not really like the dozenth film. If you realize that they're kind of eliminating all the sequels, really, that came after the original Halloween in '78, once you realize that this is almost like this is the third film, right? Because you basically have a timeline here where it's the original 1978 Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. Then we have 2018's film also titled Halloween. You think they could come up with a more original title? I mean, at least this one, new one, calls itself Halloween Kills. At least they have a different, name for it. But anyway, you have the original '78 Halloween, then the sequel is 2018's Halloween, and then this Halloween Kills is number three. So it's not film number 12 or 14 or 20, it's film number three. And I don't know where to begin with this. The story is basically, Michael Myers is back in 2018, the 2018 timeline on Halloween, and naturally, there's a lot of mayhem going on in Haddonfield, Illinois. Goes back to his old stomping grounds again. That's the typical way Halloween films go, right? The difference this time is that the Jamie Lee Curtis character of Laurie Strode is not really around much. That's disappointing. That's one of the things that disappointed me. You didn't get to see much of Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie character. She spends most of her time in the hospital, recovering from wounds sustained in the last film. Although she's still feisty and ready to fight, regardless of the fact that she just had a major, major surgery to help her recover. But yeah, it's disappointing not to see her that much, but that's not really a deal breaker in and of itself. Um, this time, instead of Laurie Strode and her daughter and granddaughter tackling Michael Myers, the idea of this film is that the whole neighborhood gets involved. The whole neighborhood becomes a mob or a posse, and just really is kind of pissed off, and they want to take down Michael Myers. They're sick and tired of this boogeyman. I never like calling him the boogeyman, and I never like calling Michael Myers the Shape. You're never going to hear me refer to Michael Myers as the Shape. He's a crazy guy who escaped a mental hospital and wears a Halloween mask. He's not a Shape. I just a little pet peeve of mine. But anyway, so that's the gist of it. the idea is we have Michael back in his neighborhood killing a lot of people. Now, the name of this film is called Halloween Kills, and it certainly delivers in that regard. The best thing I can say about this particular entry in the franchise is that there are a lot of gruesome, brutal, grotesque murders. This is the most brutal Halloween film, hands down. The murders are more over the top and violent, gory, and all the things that people love about these films. And also, they're the things that people who pick on these films hate. So, if you want to see the most vivid, violent Halloween film, this is it. And that's the only really good thing I can say about it. For people like me who occasionally like to watch, let your hair down, so to speak, and watch Jason movies and uh, stuff like that with the slashers of the 80s and so on. It delivers the goods. I mean, and it delivers the goods so much that another minor criticism I'll say is that it, sometimes less is more. You ever hear about that saying, less is more sometimes? Even somebody like me, who occasionally likes a good, grotesque, very vivid, violent film, thinks it's really over the top. I think it's almost too much. I expect this kind of carnage from Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th series. I don't expect it from Michael Myers. And what else I don't expect so much from Michael Myers is him being so damn indestructible. I mean, Jason Voorhees is indestructible. Jason, wound up turning into, for all intents and purposes, a zombie killer, an undead killer. Michael Myers, although there's always talk about how evil he is, he's evil, and the more he kills, the more stronger he gets, and all this kind of silly talk. The bottom line is he's a guy. Michael Myers is a guy, a crazy guy with a lot of strength, perhaps, but just ultimately a guy. Unless it's revealed eventually that he's a demon or something. But so how he can sustain all this, I don't know. It's interesting to me that in the last film, Halloween 2018, it starts out with Michael. He's been in a mental institution for 40 years. Somehow they manage to subdue him and get him and capture him. Yet, when we're talking about this film, even a mob of 100 people can't seem to stop him. He can kill them all. And not only that, but there's even a really ridiculous bit of business in there with a whole team of firemen, firefighters who try to put the flames out of the house that's burning down. When Michael Myers is in the house, and he comes out and he dismembers and destroys and kills the entire squad, if you will, of firefighters. That's ridiculous. It's really over the top. It's too much. And another thing, this is going to sound really, kind of cruel, I guess, in a way, but a lot of the actors here brought me down insofar as some of the actors' ages. I mean, this mob, this village, this town who goes after Michael Myers and the assemble to try to stop the nonsense, consists of a lot of old people. God, the most craziest thing to me is that the character of Tommy Doyle from the original Halloween, the little boy who Jamie Lee Curtis was babysitting, Tommy Doyle is now in his 50s, and he's played by Anthony Michael Hall. Now, hey, we all get old, all right? You can't really fault somebody for getting old, but Anthony Michael Hall, man, he looks freaking bad. I mean, we're talking about the little kid who was in 16 Candles, the little kid who was in The Breakfast Club, the teenager, and age is not kind to a lot of people. And we have this big, fat, hulking guy, bald guy, with his head shaved, I guess. I don't know. I looked at it, I couldn't stop thinking, this is Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, that's a personal thing. That's a personal, shock to me. I can't believe that. How it shows you how old we're all getting. And then they bring back, I think, the nurse from the first film, played by Nancy Stevens. She's like 72 years old, and she's going to fight Michael. And then you have Charles Cyphers, who played the policeman, or the sheriff of Brackett. I'm sorry, but I think his name's Brackett, from the first couple of films that they did. Halloween 1 and 2. And, Charles Cyphers, he's 82 years old, I think. It's very unsettling to look at that poor man. I mean, look, Nothing personal. I'm just saying, you're watching a movie with these people are all going to assemble, and they're gonna bring down Michael Myers, and and they just take to the streets like the villagers used to take to the streets trying to kill the Frankenstein monster in the old movies, and they're gonna do this. And Michael Myers is an unstoppable, robotic killing machine. Really, it's pathetic. The crowd, the mob that they get. There's a few scenes in here where you get characters trying to, they're going to take him on, and they're pathetic. I mean, they couldn't even take on a scarecrow. They couldn't even snap a twig between them, and they're gonna handle it. Yes, it's just ridiculous. Um, what else can I say? You know, the sequence. I like the sequence at the beginning. Actually, one of my favorite parts was the beginning because they recreate the 1978 Halloween feeling from the first movie. Because there's an opening, I guess a prequel, if you will, from '78, where they make new footage, and we even have an actor who I've read is made up very heavily to look like Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis from the original film. So you kind of get a little Dr. Loomis back at the beginning. I like how they do that. They try to set up the new movie by adding kind of some moments to the '78 film that we never got to see what happened with Michael. I like that part. I don't know what else to say about it. Really, it's disappointing. To me, the main criticism I have is that it's none of the characters are likable. Really, they're not very likable characters. The townspeople are just a really old, crotchety, uh, motley crew. There's a scene in there where they're all going crazy and they're running around trying to catch the killer. They're mistaking somebody else who escaped from a mental institution for Michael. They think he's Michael, so they're running around and practically bumping into each other and tripping over each other, trying to apprehend this guy, getting frenzied. A frenzied mind. It comes across as unintentionally hilarious. It's unintentionally funny, that scene, rather than intense or anything. It's stupid. It's dumb. It just feels a lot of dumbness in here. And yeah, that's pretty much my first impression, and I'm gonna put that clear. This is only a first impression because many times watching movies, as we all know, you can see a movie the first time and not think much of it, then like it on subsequent viewings. That happened to me with Halloween 2018. I actually didn't care for Halloween 2018 the first time I saw it. Second time, I liked it. And it's getting better as I watch it. This one, we'll see. I may wind up eating these words one day that I'm saying here against Halloween Kills. But at least they titled it well, because the only thing that I can recommend for this film are the kill sequences. If you like to see brutal, violent, grotesque, gory kills, this is the movie for you. And Michael Myers is nothing more than that. This film makes Halloween 2 from 1981 look like a classic. I would say this is probably the least satisfying overall film. I don't know if I'd say the worst film. This is like the most disappointing film for me since Halloween Resurrection. Not counting the Rob Zombie films. Those two films are blasphemy, and I hate the Rob Zombie Halloween films, by the way. But talking about the original series of films of Halloween, probably the worst film since Resurrection. But I'm making it sound like it's a total unwatchable piece of junk, and that's not the case. If you're into these films and you like the kills, like I say, that's what it's about. On a scale of 1 to 4 stars, I still would give Halloween Kills 2.5. You know what I mean? Because it does deliver the goods in the carnage and kills department. You could watch for that. It's just a shame that it's such a mess all around. Yeah, kind of disappointing. Now we have one more movie to come. Supposedly they're going to make another film called Halloween Ends. I'll believe that when I see it. And I don't know where they're going to go from here, because they've made Michael so unstoppable and so superhuman. They could probably blow him to bits and cut his head off and he'd still kill you. So I don't know what's going on. So 2.5 stars out of 4. If you like a lot of kills. Later.